Thank you for joining me this morning. Thank you. Whether you're here live in real time, or later, still real time, an hour before, an hour after. I'm Alex Levin, and we're here on Sun and Moon Yoga Studios YouTube portal. I'm going to start with a poem that Jackie Schaefer sent me this week. Good morning, good morning. This is the second poem by Annie Lightheart. What a good last name, Lightheart, Hart. I had not heard of this poet. This is called The Verge, Verg, The Verge. Reason is a fine thing, but remember there are other ways to live, by instinct or passion, or even maybe by revelation. Try it. Come around again to the verge, that place of about to open, near where we comprehend and laugh and see. Why shouldn't something marvelous happen to you? Take even an occasion like this. A man reading at night looked up at the window to find a moose looking in, interested and unafraid, with quiet, dark eyes. He reports he has never been the same. He finds the ungainly and miraculous everywhere. He said it started the next night in the empty window, as he watched his reflection looking right back through. He said he saw only his own beauty, how even in his same old face, the quiet eyes were curious and ready to be true. So interesting, ready to be true. So, my title today is There is a Field. Hey, Minnie. There is a field beyond right and wrong. Meet me there, says Rumi. Meet me there. So this field, cat toys, this field beyond right and wrong is where where for our meditation practice is useful to keep in mind that it's there all the time. And out of that field of whether it's the universe, the source, the seeming nothingness, the void, the absolute, so many names for it, which none of which are it. But the names come out of it. The names, the unexpected. And it seems like that moment, those moments of grace that we get of that the man in the poem got as he's reading his book and looks out into the darkness, into the window. We get this moment of grace to realize something amazing. A moose shows up. A flash, an insight, an unexpected resolution to something that we just could not solve on our own. That same thing that so many of us, whether it's something you were looking for and you found, or the crossword, those of you who do crossword puzzles or Sudokus, or where you're working on it and then you go sit in the bathroom or you're driving somewhere and you're like, I got it, eureka. And it really takes opening us, letting ourselves be open to something, something we don't yet know. And our animal friends help us so much with that. The moose and the mini mooch. So let's start, and I'd like to start today as we get our spot on the cushion. Um, the sit is about 12 minutes. Uh, I'd like to start with a tiny kind of movement. So you can go ahead and set up your seat so that it's very, very comfortable. And if you need to be in legs up the wall and legs up a chair, and laying down, lying on your side, all of those are absolutely fine, are really good positions. They are all different. They are all different. Sitting up and lying down is going to have a different energy. Sometimes lying down, we need to choose because we're so exhausted. Sometimes we need to choose lying down as a deeper grounding. I had shared another time, another kind of grounding. One friend, in her attempts at daily meditation, she couldn't sit, she couldn't lie down. Her groundedness came from standing. She would do standing meditation for a while. A little bit bent knees, a little feet a little bit separated. So sometimes we just need that support, that fuller contact with the ground on the body. So when we're sitting, there's less surface area of the body in contact, even though it's still just as full support. The uprightness of the body, the uprightness and finding just where we can be balanced, where we can hold ourselves still without holding ourselves still, without doing it somehow, sort of the less doing, um, is a discovery that's very worthwhile. The peeling back, the less and less and less. Okay, so as you find that seat or that posture, that position, however it is for you, this is going to be a movement of the head and eyes. And we can keep refining the positioning of the body, but sense the solidness of your own body at every surface that meets the generous ground. And those two surfaces are in this field of gravity, this force that is in the air around us, but it continues down into, through solidness of the earth, down right to its very center. Feel how that is to envision, to feel the center. This part is our movement part. The meditation has not formally yet begun, but it is a sort of meditation in movement and attention. So, all the way down, we know the down feel of gravity. We see it as an object drops, even as a leaf floats down. And to feel it more and more in our bodies is such a gift. For every force, there is a force equal and opposing. I call it levity. I don't know if physics might have another name for it. Gravity, levity, the uprightness. It's right there. This grid, it's like a grid that we're in, this three-dimensional grid of gravity and levity. And we can dance side to side in it, forward and back, twist and bend and bow, and we can find how it holds us. So that gravity, levity axis, we can feel at the center of ourself, that column, perhaps just in front of the spine. That column helps us sense, measure. Am I a little forward of ease? Am I a little back of full ease and letting go? Am I a little left, right? That relativity. And now from this column, begin to let your head lightly, easily, gently turn right and left, slowly, enjoyably. Slowly, so that we not only sense the obvious, but we open and sense the subtle. So you can connect the turning that we feel at the neck and perhaps shoulders, the back of the neck, the occiput at the back of the head, but all the way down through that central column. Perhaps you feel it through the rib cage, the lower lungs and organs of the belly, through the waist. And depending on how much you turn, how deep you let the turn be, the speed you're going, the tilt of your head, you may feel this differently. And every repetition, so repetition's so valuable as we move through time. Conscious repetition. Sometimes we need mechanical repetition, but conscious lets us feel and see more. More is revealed to our enjoyment, to our ease, to our dismay. And so notice now one of these peripheral and more subtle things. What are your eyes doing as the head goes side to side? Actually, let's come back and just stop at center. Just come to the pause. This huge contrast to the movement. What do you notice? What's in the shoulders? What comes to bubbles up to the surface of your attention as we stop? Perhaps a whole change in the way your eyes feel or the way your whole body feels. A whole something or something more particular, or you might have sensed a whole shift in your energy. Let's come back to the same movement. This time, consciously, actively, let your eyes, and they can be closed or open, but let your eyes track so that the nose and the focus of the eyes, the point of the nose is just lined up. So the eyes are not turning faster or slower, but you might notice they want to turn faster or slower. Notice if your eyes hold a steady line horizontally. And then come back to center, pause again. Receive the messages and revelations of the pause. This pause, different than the last pause. And this time, as you turn your head, let the eyes stay pointed forward toward, maybe toward the screen, toward your forward, the forward facing of your body. As your head turns, your eyes will try to maintain the center line. At some point, as your head turns more, maybe the eyes can't help but be pulled more. Eyes can be closed. You could try it both ways, closed, open. We're breathing. Are we breathing? We're breathing. Notice as we do something new in deep concentration, we often hold our breath. And then let the eyes go with the first pattern, going with the same, staying at the line of the nose, the vertical, of that vertical line. And then you may need to stop to do this, or you may not. Let the eyes start going opposite direction of the head. Slow. Your movement can be less in range. You can go even slower. You might notice sometimes you want to go faster. And let the eyes. Are we going together again? Are we going no, back together again. So they were going opposing. I shook it out. I shook the pattern out. Now the eyes go. Or maybe a few more. I need a few more rounds of eyes going opposite. What's happening in the belly? Does some other part of your body chime in? Can you sense the wholeness of yourself, that field beyond right and wrong, beyond duality, beyond here and there, beyond sour or sweet? And now, maybe a pause, or you can bring the eyes moving together with the head. And if you paused, now move with the eyes. Closed, moving together with the head. And then open. Smooth. Do you notice bumpiness or smoothness in the movement? Maybe eyes closed again, moving, breathing, all in unison. Back to center, to a pause. Land. And you may be really available to simply slide into your meditation right here. If you need, you can stretch out your legs, shake them out a little before we take our, I think it'll be a 10-minute sit, a 10-minute sit. Bring your legs back into place, or however your posture you choose. You might have something different in mind now in body than you did before the eye movement and head movement. As you take your bow, slowly bring your hands together, palms together in front of your heart. Notice how they find each other in space, through space. Even with your eyes closed, notice your body as you bowed, as you undo the hands. And so the noticing is coming from where? First few moments of this sit as we're committing to the more particular meditation practice now is to be still and to notice. Of course, we're not perfectly still. In the field of noticing, we receive the flow of breath. We might notice we crave an adjustment we didn't tend to yet, or the call for it arises. And we might have the capacity to not act right away, just create a gap between, to find a gap, not, I don't know if create it, find the gap between impulse and action. In that gap, action or no action, it becomes more clear. You don't have to do it alone. You can do it. You can find it. You can find the next obvious step in the gap. So that where is the noticing arising from? The man turning his gaze from his book to the night window. Reach with your non-moving attention into the source of attention. And in that field, you may notice, as I am, oh, my attention jumps to my eyes. This may be because of the movements we did earlier. I may jump to noticing how much effort is happening in the body. Whatever objects, whatever names, words are come into the field, each manifestation. I invite us to be more and more curious and settling back into what is this field, this source? And anytime there seems to be a wandering or a narrowing of the infinite awareness into some cone of attention, the boundless awareness is never gone. But verify that, check it for yourself. There is a field beyond all dualities. Meet me there. What a delight to finally notice the struggle. What a relief. and learn and relearn and relearn and relearn that we can let it go. That we can enter into the gap and find the flow. Again, marvel as you bring, without looking. Of course, this seems so obvious. We can bring our hands together perfectly, palm to palm, bowing, transitioning. I wish for you, as the man in the poem, the man in the moose discovered, that something marvelous can happen to you. Why not? Why not? That we can find the space, find the openings. And it's especially challenging, I've been seeing for a while now in this practice. That what I mentioned was it's amazing when we can notice the struggle. When we can notice the struggle, sometimes it's so obvious, but there's a layer of it that we're not conscious of the fact that how hard we're struggling. So, and that there's a possibility that we don't need to. There's a lot of conditioning of protection of wisdom in what we're doing, and yet it might not be what serves us now. Thank you, thank you, thank you for giving your practice to the world, for being the lights, for allowing yourself to be more and more light. And yeah, ciao. See you next week.